All right, hi everyone. So here we are with step 2 of KonMari, phase 2, which as you can see are books. Now I don't, let me just fix my autofocus here. Okay, there. Now I don't have a lot of books. I have more books in the US back in my parents' house that I will go through and actually do all of these steps again when I get back into the US with all of my stuff that's there. But these are what I have here. So with KonMari, so we did clothing, or I did clothing last time, and you put all of your clothes, on your bed or somewhere in your house on, something that you can really, make a big mountain of clothes so that you can see everything that you have. And you do a similar thing with the books, is you put them in these stacks. Depending on how many books you have, the stacks can be very tall, but I don't have a lot of books, so the stacks are pretty short. And since I don't have many books, I'll actually just go through them with you watching, because that shouldn't take too long. So what she likes to do is you go around and you just tap all the books like this. Seems kind of silly, but in the Shinto way of doing things, it's a way of waking up the energy in the things that have been sitting around in your house, maybe collecting dust and not being touched or looked at or anything like that. And I see it as, you haven't made contact with some of these books maybe for a really long time. And so just this tapping on them is a way for you to reconnect with them and remember, oh yeah, these are my things. These are things that at one point I purchased or I got as a gift or I, found somewhere or something like that. And so this is why we just tap them. Now, the thing with books is that you do the same thing you did with clothing. You take the book, you look at the cover and you take the book and then you hold it close and you feel if it sparks joy for you or not. So you take each book and you look at the cover. But the thing with books is you don't read them, because if you open the book and you start reading them, you're never going to get done, and you're likely going to have trouble realizing that even though this book has been sitting there for maybe 2 years, maybe longer, and you've never read it, or you haven't read it in a long time, and then you start reading again, and then you're going to start to think, oh, maybe I want to read this book again. And no. This is the kind of thinking that is kind of a logical mistake, a logical fallacy, where we think, oh, maybe I do need this thing. And no, because it's been sitting in your closet for, a really long time. So we don't want to read the book. We want to look at the cover and then hold it close. And if the memories of this book and seeing this book spark joy for us, because it's something that we want to keep and see in our home, that makes us happy when we see it, versus when we look at that book on the shelf or somewhere and we look at it and we're like, oh, I need to read that book, or I should read that book, or oh, this, we don't want things in our home, in our apartment, that when we look at them we feel guilt or remorse or feelings that bring us down in our home. We don't want that in our home. So we only want to keep things in our house that when we look at them, when our eyes rest on them on our shelves, or we open the cupboard and we see it inside, that they spark joy for us, that we're happy to see them there, and they're things that we're going to use, or books that we're going to reread. And the whole thing with books is that their purpose is to be read, and their purpose is to take the information from their pages. And many books, once you've read them one time, they've served their purpose. And so it's better for this book to go to the next person so that it can share its gift of knowledge to someone else, rather than sitting and getting dusty on my shelf and never being read again. So unless you are a person that loves to see your collection of books, and every time you see all of your books, they make you happy and you like to take them off the shelf and read them and be with the books, that's fine. You can have lots and lots and lots of books. If having that large collection and being with those books sparks joy for you and it makes you happy, and you're caring for your books, then I don't see any problem with having all of those books. In my case, I generally use books for the purpose of reading them and getting information from them and then moving on to the next book, or reading the book and having an experience and then moving on. There are not very many books that I come back to and look through and read more than once or anything like that. So those books sitting in my shelf are not helping me nor the book, because when I look at them in my shelf, I think, oh gosh, this book has just sat there forever and I'm doing nothing with it. And it makes me feel down. It makes me feel like I have clutter, or like I'm not utilizing these books for their purpose. And then this book is helping no one, sitting in my closet or in my bookshelf. So that's why we look at the cover, we hold it, we feel if it sparks joy for us to keep this book, or if it served its purpose, then we thank the book, we set it aside, and we give it away. Or we can sell our books too. If we want to sell some of the books and get some money back, sure. Or we can donate and give them away. Whatever works. I will probably give most of my books away. I probably won't charge, and if I charge anything for them, it'll be pretty minimal. Here, message. Okay, so I moved these books here, and I'm gonna just sit here so that you can see me. Oh, this autofocused again. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to start with a book that I know sparks joy with me, or sparks joy for me, which is this book here. This is the Wheel of Time. This is the Wheel of Time companion, and it's an encyclopedia of my favorite book series in the whole world, the Wheel of Time series. However, even though this book does spark joy for me, and I love it very much, and I would like to keep it, and even though I would like to keep it, it's so big, and I'm gonna be traveling and moving around, and I'm going to be asking a couple of friends if they want to take this book and keep it. Otherwise, I'm going to give this one away or sell it, just because it is so big, and I can get another copy of this, or I can get a digital copy. You know, most of my books that I do these days now are digital. I do prefer audiobooks. I prefer listening to books. But if I have a book that I read, right, I read a book, then I usually do digital, because it takes up so much less space. And I like to see book collections. I like to look at books. But in my life now, I just don't have the space to be keeping a lot of books. And yeah. So even though I love this book very much, I say thank you to it. And this is a book that I'm going to send away. And actually, there aren't going to be very many books that I keep. Actually, I already kind of know what I'm going to keep and what I'm not going to keep. So that one we set aside. It sparks joy for me, but I'm not going to keep it. So because its joy would be lessened by the fact of keeping it and carrying it around and taking care of it. So it's better for my book if it can go to someone else and bring somebody else joy and happiness. This is a book that I brought with me, The Structure of Singing. It's a singing book about the voice, and I'm never going to use this book again, so I'm going to pass that along as well, so thank you. This is a book on TPRS, Teaching Proficiency Through Reading and Storytelling, a method that I used to teach language, and I'm going to pass this book on as well. Here's another book called Truth and Comedy, which I bought after a workshop that I attended on improvisation, and I actually never read it. Well, I think I started reading it. Anyway, you're not supposed to look inside, right? But I'm not going to read it, so I'm going to pass that on. So we have these books here, which, yep, these all go together. These are graded readers for English, English beginners, and I am not going to use these anymore. I don't really teach early reading with students anymore because I am focused on acquiring language like a native speaker. And so reading is something that will come later. And this is just more for me to carry around. So I'm not going to keep those as well. So thank you. And then all of these books actually kind of go together. So I can actually look at all of these at one time. Let me see if there's another one orange. Oh, here we go. Okay. So all of these books here, we've got the Total Classroom Management Makeover. This is Smart Teacher Habits. These are Happy Teacher Habits. These are habits that a teacher does or that a happy teacher does. And this is the Korean version. And I just have no use for that anymore. And then the Classroom Management Secret and the Smart Classroom Management Way. Classroom Management for Art, Music, and PE Teachers, which I have 2 copies, and Dream Class. So these are all books by an author. His name is Michael Lindzen, and he's a classroom management teacher that I really admire. And I read all of his books, and I'm just not going to use them anymore. I have most of them in digital copies anyway, and so I'm going to pass these on. Thank you so much. Actually, they were very important for a number of years here in my life in Korea. So this book is The Natural Approach by Stephen Krashen and Tracy Terrell. And this was my first book that I owned that was focused on language acquisition and was the beginning of my language acquisition teaching journey, which now we're here today with me using ALG, Automatic Language Growth. Really have come a long way since this book, and the way I think about teaching language has really changed over time. So there's this one. Thank you so much. Yeah, like I said, a lot of these books I'm just not going to keep. So more TPRS books. So these, one of these is a Spanish mini storybook, and these are curriculum books, and I'm just not going to use them. Were there any more TPRS books? No, I don't think so. This book here, this is a guide to vegan nutrition, because I was very interested about vegan nutrition in particular. And I found this book to be very insightful and very interesting. And this, I would just get a digital copy in the future or a new copy. It was really inexpensive, so I'm going to pass this on to whomever would like it. And let's see. Here is a coloring book. I colored a few pages, but never actually finished coloring any of them. This one I got the closest. I almost finished that one. Started that one there. Yeah, here, I'll show you. That's pretty, right? So maybe someone will want to finish that. I don't know. Thank you. Okay. This book here. Now, this book technically is a sentimental item. And I will reserve this for category number 5, which is sentimental items. So sentimental items you always do last, because you go through all the categories and you hone your ability to feel what sparks joy for you and what you really want to keep, because KonMari is all about deciding what you want to keep in your life, not deciding what to get rid of. It's not about getting rid of anything. It's about narrowing everything that you own down to the few things that you really truly treasure and want to keep. So yeah, this one is a sentimental item because I received it from a student's parent, so I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to look at that later when I get to category 5, sentimental items. All right. So this is a journal here that I've been using to keep track of all of my ear training progress and some other courses that I did. So I'm keeping this journal so I can keep logging things. So my first book that I'm keeping, well, we don't know about this item yet. We'll find out when I get to category 5. But this book I'm keeping. First one. Okay, and here is a journal. This journal I started when I'm opening the book, breaking the rule, but I actually didn't know it was in here at first. So this is the voice journal, and I'm just going to tear out the pages that I wrote in, because there's actually nothing in here that I really want to keep. So I'm just going to take those pages out. And I'm going to see if anyone would like this notebook, because I'm not going to use it in the future. So thank you to this notebook. It's really cute. It has this little binder on it to keep it closed. This book is for writing in Japanese, practicing Japanese characters, kanji, hiragana, katakana, and I'm just not going to use it, so thank you. This one is an English notebook that I actually stole from work, but I used this to write different things that I was doing. I think this was... Okay, so you're not supposed to read books, but I think the difference here is I don't actually know what was in this notebook. So this is different. I have to see what is in this notebook to determine whether or not I need to keep it. But a book, like a novel that has a cover and is a story and you can remember based on the cover, those you don't have to open. So, I do not remember what this is. Which is an indication that I don't need to keep it. These are all just random notes that I made, different ideas. And none of these are ideas that I could use in the future. It was like stuff about teaching English and things that I just no longer do anymore and won't be helpful at all. And I used most of the pages in this notebook. So I think this one is actually going to get recycled. So this is the first one that's going out into the recycling. So thank you very much for everything that you helped me with during the time that I wrote in you. Okay, so you can go there. Okay, so this is another notebook, but it's more of a sketchpad notebook. And in this notebook, I wrote down ideas for a novel that I wanted to write. Which what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take pictures of the pages that I wrote in and save those and then give the rest away, because there's a lot of sketch paper in here that someone else could use. So thank you. This was a book that we're given for foreign language instructors that we had to read. I don't need this. I'm gonna recycle this because no one needs this. It's outdated now. So this one's going to the recycling. Thank you. Here is another notebook that I used to keep track of things in my 3rd grade classes. So I'll just take out the pages that are written on, and someone else can use this notebook because it's a very handy small little notebook. So thank you very much. Okay, this is Neil Gaiman's The Graveyard Book, and this is one of the very, very, very few physical books that I read with my eyes. Most times now I do audiobooks. And if I do read a book, it's on my phone or now iPad or computer. And I also rarely read just fiction for no reason. There's always some reason why I'm reading things. This was purely for, oh, I like Neil Gaiman, I'm curious about this book. It was just total, I don't want to say pleasure, because when I read things 9.9 times out of 10, it's pleasurable. So, but yeah, this was just for fun. So thank you very much. And I'm sure somebody else will want this book. Another notebook. I bought this pack of all these little notebooks that came together for different classes that I was teaching. And so that's why I have so many different notebooks with different colors. So same story. I'm just going to take out the pages that I wrote on. Oh, so much paper. Trash. Yeah, I got all these little pieces of paper now from ripping those pages. Thank you. So I need to clean all that up. Let's see here. It's all over my pants. All these little pieces of paper. Yeah, you can see there. Those on here. Okay, that all cleaned up. Almost. I'm still finding some more. All right, come on. Okay, oh my gosh, there are more. There's so many. Okay, next are some more notebooks, and these 3 books, this one, and this one, I know exactly what's in these because these are all of my meditation logs. So I got this book from one of my former energy healers who worked on me for some sessions back in 2006, maybe 2007. And she bought me this for journaling my time in Korea. And I made like 1 journal entry in Korea and some other things. But then I started to use this as my meditation log. So I logged all of my meditations, and here's my first day of meditating for 20 minutes every day, and I haven't missed a day since. This was September 17th, 2018 at 6:47 in the morning. It was a long time ago. So I'm going to keep this book here, because actually it probably belongs in group 5 with sentimental items, but I already know for sure that I'm keeping this, so I'm gonna just keep it. As well as this one was then the next one that came after this, and then this one. I'm gonna keep those. There may come a time where I just keep the first one, but for now I'm gonna keep all 3. And this notebook, it's getting kind of heavy. We've got these 4 hardcover notebooks that I'm keeping. This is another notebook similar to those, but this I didn't use for logging my meditation. This one I've used for many different just random things that I've needed to write over the years. And this one actually came over with me from the States. So I brought it from the States here to Korea, and I've had it since then. I think. I'm pretty sure. Well, let me just look here at the first page. Oh yeah. The first entry I have in this is from 2006. So I've had this notebook for a while. I'm also going to keep this notebook. This notebook I am not going to keep because this one I was gifted to by a very thoughtful and kind friend who gave this to me, and I had kind of forgotten that I had it, and then I started to teach classes online, and this is a diary that has the dates and then lots of lines for you to write everything in for the days. And it's just a nice size. I love these little suspenders, these little, what do you call this thing? Strap that, keeps the book closed. Plus it has two bookmarkers, actually. There's one bookmarker here and one bookmark here and one here. So this was a really, really nice notebook that I loved. But it's dated 2020, so it's served its purpose for sure. I actually ended up using this sometimes in 2021, and I would just change the date at the top. That's how much I like this notebook. So thank you so much for everything. And you, my dear, are going to your next stage in life in recycling. So there is that. Okay, let's do these books here. So this is exercises. It's an ebook from an online singing course that I purchased by Cheryl Porter. And because it is printable and because it is an ebook, I'm not going to keep it because it's more things that I have to carry with me when I travel. So I can get this book easily from somewhere else, and I can recycle this paper. So thank you so much for how you helped me when you did. And I pass that on. Now these books here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, all of these books, these are all music books from when I was in choir. So I was in choir here in Busan. And so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books full of score, music for the songs that we sang in choir. And even though there's some really great music in here that I would love to revisit again, I'm just never going to use this again. So all of this is going to be recycled. I might ask the choir if they want any of these back. Maybe they'll take them off my hands and they can use them. But I doubt it because all of these are, it's just paper. So they probably don't, but I'll still ask anyway. So these helped me for many years singing in the choir because we use this music and we rehearse these songs. Each of these is a year of rehearsing. So, except the last one because of COVID, stopped having rehearsals. But anyway, thank you so much. These two books, which look just like paper because this book I actually never put together, but this is my piano book from the Russian School of Piano Playing. This is the first part and this is the second part. And I practice piano every day out of these. So of course I'm keeping the second one. I don't need to keep the first one. The first one I can get again just by downloading because it's public domain and it's free in my school's downloads. So I don't need to keep this anymore. Thank you so much for many, 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 many months of playing. This book, I think, took me, I don't know, maybe a year to get through, quite a long while. So, thank you. And I'm on this book currently, so I'm going to keep this one. Okay, this book here, this is my yoga certification manual. So, I'm going to be keeping this one so that if I start teaching yoga again, I have this to refer to so I can freshen up on my theory. And I'm going to keep this one. So thank you. Speaking of Neil Gaiman again, I took one of his writing courses on Masterclass, and this was the e-guide that came with it. But I don't need it anymore, so I'm going to recycle this as well. Thank you so much. These two books I actually brought from the US. They are scores to music, solo songs for low voice. Though technically I am a tenor, I found that out later in life. And I never used these once while I was in Korea here, thinking I would. Oh, that's not true. I did use it once. But yeah. So these books, I can get the music online easily, and I'm just not going to use them. So thank you so much. And I'm going to pass you on to somebody else who might need you. Okay, this book here is the third book of an energy healing book that I really wanted to get when it came out. There's all sorts of nice, beautiful pictures in here. Which is, this is the third book. Like I said, the last book of a series by Barbara Ann Brennan. And so when this book came out, I bought it and wanted to read it, and I did. And I'm just not going to carry this around anywhere. I have a digital copy, I think, of this already. So I'm going to see if anybody else would like this book and can pass it on to someone else. So thank you very much. This, it doesn't look like a book, but there is a book in here. This is Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. This is about, organizing your finances, getting out of debt. And, Dave is one of the reasons that I'm in Korea. I don't know that he would have suggested moving to Korea to get out of debt, but it was a way for me to spend less money on living life and having more money to put towards my debt. And I did get out of student debt while I was here. So thank you so much. And hopefully there's somebody here who could take advantage of this and help them with their financial situation. Okay, and my last two books are two that I know I'm keeping. These are instruction manuals from when I was in energy healing school. And I had them shipped over here to Korea when I was seeing a few clients. I needed this for reference. And these are giant binders. And I'm a little apprehensive about taking them home just because they're so big. However, these are things that I do not want to leave in Korea. They're very important to me. And it's information that I can't get anywhere else but in these pages. I don't have digital copies of them. So those books will be going with me. All right, that's it for my books. That was pretty simple. So out of all those books that I had, we have this little stack of notebooks, and my piano manual, my yoga manual, and my energy healing manuals. Not bad at all. Much less. Oh, jeez. The books are falling down. Okay, stay there. Okay, and then the other books are over there that I'm going to part with. So, and the next phase will be paperwork, which paperwork, that's something else. Because you have to go through every piece of paper to work on that. So you can look forward to seeing that in the next video. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button if you're not already a member. If you're not already a subscriber, ring the bell so you can get notifications about videos that I post in the future. And consider joining our Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye!